Well, you know, those graphs that you had there were optimistic projections. I mean, they assume that lots of things that ought to happen will happen, but probably won't happen, like having a permanent fix to the alternative minimum tax and imposing a doctor fix for Medicare and stuff like that. The chances are that we are going to face catastrophic debt, as Jim Angle reported, and it's basically, and it's been, people have been saying this for years and years and years. It is because of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and now interest on the national debt. So George Bush proposes a deficit commission, and the Democrats refuse to serve on it. Now Obama is proposing a deficit commission, and the Republicans are not going on it. I think what they should do is all go down to the Chinese embassy and just declare articles of surrender right now, because they own our debt and they're going to own us at the rate things are going, and it's going to be both of their faults.
Nina.
Well, I think if you're going to look at the budget today, you have to, President Obama and his advisors have said over and over again, we inherited this huge deficit, this huge debt. There's some truth to that. So I would say in terms of judging him, let's say, okay, well, let's just take the deficit off the table, because that is a different issue I want to get to in a minute. But just in a matter of spending, they talked about $20 billion in spending cuts, discretionary, non-defense spending. And then you go in there and you look at the stuff that they're adding to add back the spending, $6 billion in clean energy technology. They boast in the budget about the EPA's budget being higher than any other administration has ever asked for. And then you look at that, you contrast that with the cuts. There's this $9 million National Parks program, a preservation program, $9 million in grants it gave out last year. And they had the gall to put it on the website as one of their tough choices they had to make. So I think that tells you all. The problem with the deficit is you need growth. I mean, these numbers are so huge. He's going to try to tax down the deficit. He wants to put $2 trillion of taxes on industry and people and capital.
And let the Bush tax cuts expire.
And let the Bush tax cuts expire for the wealthiest people, many of whom are small businesses, as we know. That's not how you get deficits under control. Bill Clinton was helped in the 90s because the economy improved, and the economy helped us grow out of those deficits. You have to be doing policies that help growth in order to bring revenue in. You can't just cut. You can see from the numbers, you just cannot cut discretionary spending remotely enough to get the deficits under control.
Charles.
The scary part here is that normally you expect in a recession to get an explosion of deficits because revenues are down and spending is up. But when you get a recovery, that should decrease. But under the projections of this administration, even after recovery and robust increase in growth, we're going to have the lowest of our deficits are going to be about $700 billion. And they're going to end up at around $1 trillion at the end of this decade. The cumulative effect is, as you showed, that we will have national debt, the total amount, at just about 80% of gross national product. But as Mort said, that includes all kinds of rosy assumptions, including the fixes of the AMT, which is not accounted for, and even loonier is it builds in a decrease in debt of $100 billion as a result of Obamacare. That's a fictional saving of a plan that's not going to happen anyway. So it gives you an example of how out there this whole projection is. A realistic projection is it's going to be 100% of the GDP, which means we're either going to have a run on the dollar, or we're going to have hyperinflation, or we are going to have catastrophically high interest rates. And either all three of them will destroy the economy.